Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Life Chronicles and Deep Dives podcast. I'm here with Coach Cornelia, all the way in Romania.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
And my name is Coach Ranjit, and we're going to be talking about, we don't normally do this, aliens. We're going to be throwing some interesting topics moving forward. I just wanted to bring that in. So, aliens, and are we alone in the universe? Coach Cornelia, what do you think?
No, we're not. Yeah, I can say it with certainty. No matter what anyone would tell me, I'm sh very sure that I've been abducted when I was in the fifth grade. And then I'm very sure that I had contact with them when I gave birth to my daughter. So no one will convince me otherwise. They can say I'm crazy, I don't care. It's something that I felt, I experienced. And at the same time, you know that cliche where you say, "Oh, this universe is so big, we cannot be alone." I believe it. We can't be alone. What do you think?
I mean, you got some good points there. The first one that I'm going to bring into is we're not going to discount your experience because here's the reason why. Until somebody can disprove it, it has to be like available to for belief, right? Until it's absolutely disproven, it has to be available. Like somebody has, you can't discount it. You can't say it doesn't exist, right? Case in
Yeah.
point, you're right. The vastness of space. I mean, there's so many galaxies and stars and planets, things. And I mean, we've got telescopes that are shooting galaxies and nebulas far away. Uh, it would seem plausible that there would be life. I
Mm.
mean, it would be odd that there wouldn't be life. Um, in addition to that, evidence, video evidence, military pilots, commercial pilots, drone footage, civilians with their like phones capturing things on different parts of the planet, but similar things. Um, it's very interesting.
It is, yes. It's very interesting, and it's very, you know what, it's most interesting for me? This talk about aliens, if they exist, if they don't, it's been so secretly kept by the governments. They didn't want to talk about, so we won't get crazy and get scared. But now when they had, I know that in US, I know they had some how do you call it there? I don't, talks. They talked about it in Congress, and they called witnesses and so on, and no one cared about it. That's the most interesting thing that I mean, it's like people already know that they exist. They don't care if they do or not. Sometimes, we talked about it in the last podcast. We are waiting for them to save us from these crazy people that are ruining our lives, politicians and so on. So that's the most interesting thing for me, that the fact that even now, if I've seen that CIA posted probably thousands of proofs and videos, footage with UFOs, and no one cares about it. Why do you think it's like this?
So here's why I think it's like that. So anytime somebody has a secret, anytime they're trying to keep it a secret or they're trying to say, like when you have videographic evidence, when you have audio evidence, like repeating signals, right?
Mm,
Anytime somebody is trying to keep a secret, they're trying to hold power, right? So if there's a secret, they're holding power. And it's crazy to think that there are aliens, but that it is not common knowledge. Like they haven't output it, right? We've released the Senate congressional hearings that they had with I watched those, right?
yeah,
It was
yeah.
interesting to me to hear these people's stories, to hear what they had to say, and then just to watch it kind of like fizzle down, like it just disappeared. Um, and the reason for that is probably because the government is either one, has the technology, two, is testing the technology, and three, doesn't want us to know about it. They're worried about mass hysteria. The government's there to protect us. So
Mm.
they would want us to not actually know about these things because then it would mean that they are not the most powerful thing.
Yeah, but even if they say that, even if they say, I mean, Vatican, right? The Vatican came and say that there's many people up there in the universe, right? No one was crazy with this. I mean, no one went, oh, there's aliens. They're gonna kill us. They're gonna do this and that. No one cared about it. Okay, there's aliens. We can live with them just like we live with each other in the last thousands of years.
I mean,
And
there's so far there's no evidence of them like attacking. It's not like been Independence Day, the movie. They're not
yeah.
like coming here and attacking, right? As far as I've seen, all of the videos and all of the evidence, except for maybe one, has shown that they just kind of like exist. They're here. They're traveling through our atmosphere. They're in our oceans. They're not really doing anything
Mm.
to attack us. They're just kind of there.
And I've seen a TV. They did intervene a few times when they were trying to take the nuclear missiles. They were trying to take them out from the ground. I don't know how they're. I've seen some footage with them under the ground, and they are trying to put them up. And when there was this Cold War between Russia and America, and people from that nuclear station um, talked about how everything went down. So the lights went down, the electricity went down, and everything just broke for a while until the things cooled off, maybe. I don't know. And so that's something where they intervene around the nuclear stations.
Sure. I mean, but they're not actively like attacking. So like
They're not
Independence
attacking.
Day or like what is it, Battle Los Angeles, or any number of movies where aliens are, attacking, the civilian population, invaders from Mars, there's millions of alien movies, right? If there was a large scale ground or aerial invasion, then we'd know for sure. But for some
Sure.
reason, the government's kept all of this hidden, right? And so going back to the vastness of space, like the sheer size of galaxies, the universe, stars, and travel, it is statistically likely that there are aliens,
Mm,
or extraterrestrials, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, the government even switched from UFO to UAP, and I think that was
yeah,
designed
absolutely.
to detract attention away from it. So they're obviously hiding something. I mean, if you're keeping a secret and everything's classified, you're not telling me that stuff isn't there. You're telling me stuff is there that you don't want me to see, right?
Yeah, it's hiding
That's
it. Yeah.
that's pretty straightforward.
What about Area 51? Because from Europe, we're seeing so many documentaries and so many people talking about Area 51 and what's going on there. And officially, they say that it's military technology, but everyone thinks that it's aliens. What do you think?
I have no idea. So Area 51, that's interesting to me. I would, a lot of people like, you can go around it, but if you get
Mm,
too close, they'll come and scoop you up.
yeah, yeah.
Um, they do military technology. So, I mean, that is, not uncommon. But if you have a place that has, top secret military technology and the space or the ability to hide something, why wouldn't you put them both in the same place?
Mm,
You know what I mean? So again, the high level of secrecy, sure, they don't want to disclose national secrets or tested military technology or what new stuff they're working on, but they also may be hiding something else.
like
It's
what?
it's plausible, I mean, it's not.
Like a ship, a stellar ship.
Yeah. I mean, I'm, They probably do. They probably have some sort of alien propulsion technology. They're probably testing it. Some of these UFOs that, our people see could be tested extraterrestrial technology that we're doing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's completely on the table. And
Micah, did you have any experiences with aliens? Did
no,
you meet any alien?
that'd
No.
be kind of cool. I don't think I've not encountered an alien or anything like that. I think it would be quite interesting to do that. Mainly because I've always had this fascination with space. And maybe it's because like we've talked about how like I seek that freedom, whether it's, out in the ocean or whether it's, I've always had this, I'm searching for that absolute freedom.
Mm.
And space is a place where, like I could have that, but how am I supposed to get up into space? Like I'm just an individual, right? You can't go to the Starship, Starship dealer and buy one, uh, to travel out into
Not yet.
space. Not yet, not yet. Um, so I think it would be cool to interact with one or have some level of interaction with an extraterrestrial, an alien, or even be able to see a UFO myself.
Mm. Yeah. Why do you think they, I mean, I'm very sure that the eastern part of the world has connections with aliens. Do you think that the US has some connections with them?
Like our government is working hand in hand with aliens. Again, not off the table. It could be a possibility. There's also something to be said for, John Carpenter. He came out with a movie called They Live back in the day, and basically it was like aliens were running everything through, subliminal messaging. And then this guy discovers glasses that allows him to see the truth. And then he, like starts a resistance against the aliens. So, not off the table. Again, like if I can't prove that it's not happening, I have to say it's a possibility. And
But if the government, let's say we understand why they are hiding it from us, why aren't the aliens coming in my yard for instance, say, hello, I'm John from outer space. Why aren't they coming? Why aren't they showing themselves?
so, I couldn't speak for the aliens, but I'll give it a shot. If I was an alien, I would be observing,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of my interaction would be observation and exploration, but trying to be as least visible as possible, stealthy as possible, right? I would want to learn about what I would be interacting with rather than presenting myself up front.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is that if I am noticed, then I can't observe the thing in the natural habitat. Think about like a photographer, a nature photographer that goes out into the wild to capture, the stunning footage you see on like, Discovery Channel or, BBC or whatever they've got, those documentaries on.
Yeah.
The way that they're able to capture that footage is to be unnoticeable or as minimalist as possible. So I think there's something to be said for that as well. But also their aliens have presented themselves in some cases. I mean, you've seen the UFO videos, that they've declassified. There's personal cell phone videos that people have captured, that's interesting to look at. I can't say what it is, but the fact that it is there and available just means that you you kind of got to look at it as something to believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine someone uh in this time we're living in saying that there aren't aliens. I can't imagine that. It's like saying that we don't exist because each planet has different kinds of atmospheres or conditions to live for
Hmm.
different kinds of organisms. So when we're talking about aliens, we're not talking about um, what we're seeing in the movie. We
Hmm.
can talk about a unicellular organism too.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, or like a biomechanical type of, spacefaring
Hmm.
being. You know what I mean? It could be any number of things, and you're right. Um, there are a lot of, potentially habitable planets, planets that fall into, they're next to their, energy producing stars like our sun. We're in the habitable zone, right? So, like, there's like a range where life is created. Now, the catch is that our habitable zone would produce life that could be similar to life on this planet.
Yeah.
However, however, something in another galaxy, right, on another planet, exoplanet, uh, their conditions for creation could be different, right?
Hmm.
So what we require or what Earth requires for life could be completely different from, you know, another organism in another galaxy, right? They could require less sunlight or more gravity or less gravity, right? Like all of these things could play into the fact.
It would be so beautiful to find out about all of these things. I remember the book written by Barbara Marciniak. It's called Pleiadian Constellation. And she's been a journalist, and she says that she received messages from the Pleiadians and she put them in a book. And it's so logical. So you cannot find anything out of the ordinary, but at the same time, it's not something that you would think every day of. So it's interesting things in that book. And they were saying that on their planet they can grow fruits, for example, with the power of their minds. They can make it rain if they want, just in an area. So it's like what we want to manifest. It's this current right now with manifesting things um, from imagination to becoming material. That's what the Pleiadians, it said that they are doing on the planet. I think it's so interesting. If it were to be true, it would be so interesting to learn about their ways of being and how they're living and what they need for living and so on.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting. I mean, so there's something to be said for like imagination and projection and what we perceive or what we want something to be, right? That's how they make aliens in movies, and as the
Mhm.
imagination grows, like it shifts, different types, different forms, different ways that this alien has presented itself. But, and that's just because we don't see them on a daily basis. We don't see them or there's, besides on the declassified videos, um, a lot of alien representation in books and movies could be real,
Mhm.
has the potential to be real, not just
Sure.
because it comes from our imagination, but because it maybe they've used like scientific backing to create it. Or, for instance, somebody like you, this person has interacted with this, extraterrestrial being or these beings, right? They are presenting something that is could be true. And so like you can't discount it. And I could go in a tirade about this because I think like so let's say schizophrenics, right? They see things, they hear things, right? They
Yeah.
see and hear
Always won-
things that
I've always
they
wondered if about this topic. It's very
right.
interesting.
So they see and they hear things, right?
Yeah.
There's one key factor. What they're seeing and what they're hearing either could be an expanded conscious. So they're
Hmm.
actually seeing more of the world, reality, and the universe than
Yeah.
our minds are allowed to see.
Hmm.
Or their imagination is creating this environment these things, these audio visual hallucinations, right? So there's two different paths. There's always a path with me. There's always two ways, multiple ways to look at it. Same thing for aliens, right? Could be created, could be true. And the best part about and to me, I think what the appeal is that in my search for the truth, in my search for the freedom, I'm open to it all, right? Who's to say that the schizophrenic over there, maybe he's not directly over there, but the schizophrenic, right, isn't seeing more,
Yeah.
right? Their mind is open, right? Um, who's to say? You got doctors, you got people, they're all telling you, people in power are telling you that, like you're not, that's not right. That's not what it is. But how do they know for a fact?
Mhm. And if you think about taking those eating or I don't know drinking those mushrooms, and you get into you have hallucinations, right? And most of the people that took those mushrooms, they are saying that their lives changed in a few hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it might be an expansion of the conscience, not hallucinations like in when you talk about imagination. Just your conscience is growing.
Growing, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's definitely plausible and on the table. Um, sorry, my cat's jumping around. Um, for anything. So, what do you think about other planets? What do you think about us traveling? We're gonna move away from just the aliens for a little bit, but we're gonna go to alien planets. What do you think about other planets? How do you think you think we can get there? Think we're gonna get there?
So I was talking to a friend a week ago, and she told me that her son told her when he was 3 years old that he came from a planet, and it made me think about how many planets there are and how many lives are on the planet. I maybe it's one of my steadiest because I like to change my mind. I like to change my mind if I have the occasion, and but it might be the one of the steadiest ideas that I have, that we are traveling in our lives, in many lives, on different planets. So we might have been aliens at one point, or maybe we on this planet are aliens for others from other planets.
Okay. So I'm gonna devil's advocate you here, right? So what do we
Mhm.
know about psychology? And I'm not a psychologist, but I know some things. Projection, right? So what you could be describing, and we're not going to discount it. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here because it could be true, right? There's something to be said for multiverse, right? There's something to be said for,
Sure.
like when people have deja vu or they feel like they've lived previous lives,
Mhm.
there is something to be said for projection, right? So each of these children could be projecting an ideal planet for them, right? Rather they're not maybe they're not intaking information, maybe they're outputting information from something that they see as their ideal planet, right? Because kids have like an unfettered imagination, right? So it kind of like it's grown. As we go older, we're told that we need to like shut our imagination down, go to work, pay your taxes, and that kind of stuff. So there is that. But on the other side, there is the prospect of like projection, astral projection from like aliens sending ideas, thoughts, right? We can't discount it.
Yeah, we
Okay.
cannot. Sure.
We can't. I just saw like a couple weeks ago in it was one like a congressional hearing where somebody was talking about the CIA has like a weapon that can make somebody go crazy. It's not like a nuclear weapon. It's not a munition or an explosive. It's literally a psychological weapon that makes people go crazy. Well, or mind control, right? So MK Ultra comes into play with that. Well, you look at those different things, not impossible to say that our government is using alien technology. It's not impossible to say that aliens aren't using alien technology. But I'm also saying that maybe it is true that they have these ideas. Now, you said, and we're going to dive into this, I'd like to hear from you on this. You said you've had encounters with aliens before. So it is possible that if you've had encounters with aliens before, that either some imprint of that passed on to your children, your child, or some thought process from that passed on to your child, right? They may not, maybe they're not speaking through you, maybe they're projecting to your children
Mhm.
because they've encountered you before, maybe they've encountered you, they've altered, genetic molecular structure, and that passed on into your child. So let me ask you,
Crazy.
um, I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm just throwing out ideas, right? Um, Let me ask you this. Leo's down here trying to attack me. Tell me about your two experiences. Let's break those down. What are your two experiences?
Oh, wow. I've never talked about it except with my very close friends. So the first one was in the fifth grade, and it wasn't an encounter per se. It was just that like I woke up at one point realizing that I didn't remember how I fell asleep. So I don't know how I fell asleep. I just woke up in a room. The main thing is that the room was closed with a key that only my mom had it. So she was closing I mean she was locking the living room when she was going to work. And I woke up in the living room, which was locked on the outside. So it was pretty scary for me, fifth grade. And the other thing that happened was I was cut to all of my fingers, little, small, very small cuts, and really painful ones. At that point, you can imagine I never thought about aliens or never crossed my mind. It was a communism, you didn't have so much access to information. It just didn't cross my mind. I just thought that maybe I was crazy. How did I? How did I do it? How did I get into a room that was locked and the key was at my mom? Um, After a few years, I met someone. She talked to me about aliens and gave me some books, and I read about these cuts on the fingers and waking up without remembering that you went to sleep and so on. And then I thought, okay, maybe this was my experience as well. So this was the first one. The second one was even more interesting for me. It was very interesting when I had a very long labor, about 4.5 days. And in the last day, I've been in a hospital, and I woke up in the morning, and I could see some really big shapes in the hospital room. And I was talking to them, how is it called? Through my mind. I don't remember the word. Asking them what are they doing there, and they said they just want to make sure that my daughter is coming in the world safe, and that was all. So maybe I don't know, maybe it was just something that my imagination did, but in my feeling is that it was true, or maybe this is what I like to believe. I don't know.
So you've got some two experiences. I wish I could have an experience. Like I just
You know what, Micah? Even if it's not true, it's 100% might be not true or might be true or whatever. We can never tell, right? Even if it's not true, for me it's interesting
Mhm.
believing that I had these experiences. So I
Sure.
wish,
I mean, it doesn't harm anybody for you to have
yeah,
this belief either. You know what I mean? It's not like it's like changing the world or, it's not killing people. Your belief that you had this experience is not a bad thing.
yeah.
I wish I could have one. I wish I could, kind of like those movies where they like kidnap you into space and you get to go on like this multi-galaxy
Mm.
planetary expedition. That would be perfect for me, right?
Yeah,
Because like I just,
it could be perfect. Yeah.
yeah,
For me,
I
it would
mean,
be, I would be too scared to travel. I don't like to fly, so I
ugh,
hate it. So imagine about the UFOs, but for you, it would be a great experience.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I would just, I mean, the freedom, the experience to be able to see the new thing, just the whole thing would be great. Like just to go. And I think that's like kind of like if I couldn't, if the ocean is the frontier that I'm looking for now, where I can find the most freedom, the space would be the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, I want that to happen, right? Maybe not like where they're like probing and like doing all this weird stuff, but maybe where they take me on an adventure. The end of ET, ET offers Elliot to go on the adventure with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They,
Yeah.
he's on an adventure, right? Those kind of things would be cool to me.
You can try something I'm doing every morning, almost every morning, not every morning, but almost every morning. I say something. I have the right to experience little miracles every day. You
Mhm.
can you can try to say it, maybe it happens.
Sure. And I really hope it does. Cause like I mean, I think in the future I want to do a podcast on ghosts. Because I have had experiences that I can't explain,
Mm-hmm.
that are kind of odd, um, that could be, like ghosts. And we've talked about in previous podcasts, like energy stays energy, right? It doesn't matter. So, like, if the physical body is gone, the soul is still there because there's still energy.
Yeah,
Um, the one thing I did want to point out, I'm going to take a little serious detour here, is that religion, and I'm not harping on it. If you're religious, be religious, right? Believe what you want to believe. Religion, by Christianity, while there are some texts and some documents, requires a lot of blind faith. So, with that, if religion is a possibility that it exists, and millions, billions of people go to church, they go to mosque, they go to, prayer, they go to temples, they go to ceremonies, they go to pyramids, right? Millions, billions, the globe. If that's a possibility, aliens has to be a possibility. Like you can't say that one exists without the other.
sure.
You know what I mean? Like you can't have that. Maybe I'm just more open minded. Maybe I just feel like I'm just like so open minded to the possibility of aliens, the possibility of religion, right? Because, like, again, I can't discount any religion because I can't disprove the religion, right? I can't say it doesn't exist. So it has to possibly exist.
Yeah.
Same thing with aliens.
Yeah. Just a small remark I want to make. It's in Christianism, it's not blind faith, it's just faith. So you believe it or not, um, it's not blind faith, just faith. But I was thinking about different civilizations around the globe, and when you look at their paintings or drawings in their time, they're exactly the same. So they couldn't communicate at that moment, right? They didn't have this technology to communicate with each other, but they were in different parts of the globe, but they had the same drawings, the same men with that casket and other things, like customs or something. So how can we explain it? If not by them coming somehow the gods. So for them they were gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming from the skies. If you read the old readings, they talk about gods coming from the sky, uh, which might be very well be aliens, of course. And I
Sure.
really believe it. Yeah.
I mean, Native
I
Americans, they have, their gods as well, and they also, interestingly enough, several of them were in the sky. So you're
mm-hmm.
right. That could be
Yeah,
totally feasible.
I wonder why those gods didn't talk to us anymore.
So you're right. Like, I mean, let's talk about pyramids structures, right?
Mhm.
So I've got a train of thought that hopefully doesn't take too long. Different structures erected on different continents by different people.
Mm-hmm.
Similar, not exactly the same, but similar. Okay. With that, how did that happen? One could be alien influence. Absolutely. I believe that that is a high possibility that there was alien influence in building, pyramid structures, ancient civilizations, or influencing them, helping them along.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's a phrase that says great minds think alike.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the counter to the aliens, great minds think alike. Even if they're in different places, it's possible, different continents, it's possible for humans to have similar thought patterns to create similar structures. So, I mean, there's two sides of it. I
Yeah.
would like to think that, and that's, see, this is an opinion, this is a preference. I would like to think that aliens had something to do with it, or extraterrestrials had some influence. So the text is Sumerian, ancient Sumerian, right? So it looks like, and I haven't done a lot of research into this, but it looks like there could be influences of extraterrestrial involvement in that text, right? It
Mm-hmm.
looks like, just it could be a possibility. So I would like to believe that, there is some. Now, you said that they're not communicating with us anymore. God isn't communicating with us. Two thoughts to that. One, God, conscience, inner voice. A lot of people aren't speaking to their inner voice anymore. They're too
Yeah.
outwardly focused.
Mm-hmm.
They're not,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? They're not inwardly focused. They're not focusing inward. So they're not really speaking on that level, right?
Yeah.
Schizophrenics, right? They're hearing voices. We call them crazy. Somebody goes to church and they talk to God, not crazy. It's a double standard. It's interesting. I don't have really an opinion on that because I can't disprove either one.
The thing is with the schizophrenics, and I had a friend who had it, is that they are not constant in their. For example, someone religious who hears voice, it's constant in what they're saying. The schizophrenics, they can say today they can say something about something, then tomorrow something else. It's something like you cannot put your finger on it. You cannot understand what they're talking about.
It's not like a
While the
constant,
Yeah, yeah, that's the difference.
right? I still think there's something for that expanding conscious there, right?
Yeah.
Um, just like with religion, could be some sort of expanded conscience, but we also talked about how it could be, designed to control the population. So it's hard to say. Now, on the same note, the government's keeping a secret. Everybody knows that. Everything's classified about aliens. They're slowly
Mhm.
declassifying stuff, it's coming out. They could also be using that to control the population in some similar degree as religion, right? So they keep it shrouded in mystery. They only let out a certain amount at time, right? And
It's
then,
also fear mongering, or how is it called?
yeah, yeah,
Fear
fear
mongering.
mongering.
Yeah.
I think the government is afraid of widespread um, panic, right?
Mm.
I mean, they're willing to
But
go like
but no one,
riots and
Micah, no one is panicking.
no,
We are
no
just
one's panicking about aliens.
what, what I feel is that everyone is waiting for them to save us from those leaders that we have. That's how I feel. I think at this point we like aliens more than the leaders that we have, even though we don't know if aliens exist.
Mhm. And going back to what you said earlier, we have instances of them speaking to us, speaking, right? Maybe they're not actually interacting with us. You had an experience where they were speaking directly to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they, through the videos, the unclassified UFO videos, the personal cell phone videos, um, is if it's deemed to be authentic and not digitally created, those things are in a way an alien speaking to us. Now, we've talked about them being present. So we're seeing them. Maybe we're not supposed to see them. Maybe they're trying to hide. Maybe they do want to be seen in some instances. They're only revealing themselves to certain people. There is something to be said for repeating signals, right? So every once in a while, I come across an article where from space they get a repeating signal, or
Yeah.
like they're getting like some sort of radio wave that they
Mhm.
and it repeats, so it's on a pattern, or something like that. That to me is an indicator that of there's a possibility of alien life. That's a pretty good indicator that there's
Yeah.
like higher intelligence out there, or the universe is creating a similar frequency that we're picking up.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying about the pyramids, so in my view, that was an information. So they gave humans an information, because if you think about what a pyramid is, scientifically proven that if you put anything under a pyramid, it becomes clean, right? So it's a form of cleaning water, or whatever else. I don't know. So pyramids are a very special form of geometrical form, let's say.
Mhm.
So they gave us an information. If you think about the evolutionary part, uh, exactly as you said, at the same time in the world, the same things happened. We don't know how, but great minds think alike, maybe. Uh, we can still think that they are giving us information if you think about the AI,
Mhm.
right? I'm not sure that it's I'm not sure that it's totally man-made, this AI.
So that's another part where like the technology is there. So if we look at it, let's say our governments, not just ours, but any government, has access to this technology. Well, they can't just release it like that,
Mm,
right? They would have to slowly release it, just like a government or a abuser slowly establishes coercive control, or dominance over their intended target or their people.
yeah.
The reverse would be opposite for something that they're trying to keep secret, but they're trying to release as forward moving technology.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know that there's like a whole government office that we have here that is designed to seek and hide patents. Like that's crazy. But not only that,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
It
So
took me a minute,
they will
it took
shut
me a
down.
second to process it. So they are just seek and hide patents for new technologies?
Mhm.
Oh, that's
But
crazy. That's
there's
interesting.
another aspect is
Mm,
that the government could be rolling out technology, right? I'm not saying AI is alien created, but the government could be slowly rolling out technology through private companies that is alien technology over time, right? Rather than just like, oh yeah, here's like a spaceship, right? They slowly release, technology, whether we're moving towards, I'm not saying electric vehicles are alien technology either, but let's say we're moving towards personal hovercraft, right? We need some sort of anti-gravity, whatever, right? The
yeah.
testing of alien technology, these UFOs could be our governments or the world people testing alien technology. Maybe it
Mm-hmm.
was caught on camera, whoopsie daisy. On the other hand, it could actually be aliens. So in both aspects, it's alien technology.
Yeah.
But who's operating it? Is it us or is it them?
I hope it's them, them more than us. I don't really trust our governments at this point.
I think it would be kind of cool. I think it would be pretty amazing to have, maybe not like an Independence Day or War of the Worlds type alien, but something that would be freeing, or like a new technology or like life-saving technology. Now, because let's talk about behaviors. Behavior of people or people in power is designed to keep that power and get more. So
Hmm.
it would be, again, it would be beneficial for governments to hide aliens and their technology in order to maintain control, secrecy, control. So they're keeping these things secret. Why? Well, because if there are aliens, that means that there's something more powerful than our governments. The government wouldn't want us to be looking at something that's more powerful than them. So how do they do that? They squash it. They keep it a secret. They, debunk
Hmm.
alien, theories. They launch smear campaigns against people that speak out for it or that have witnessed it. They silence those people, whether they, like throttle, views, or whether they change, like they dig up some dirt on this person and then they say that, right, that to discredit them.
Because in Russell incident, if you think about it, all of them, all everyone was involved somehow. They just changed their minds because something that you said happened to them.
Yeah, it's interesting how that happens, right? Like,
Yeah.
hmm. So, I mean, I just think it's kind of cool. Now, let's ask, what do you think an alien would look like? What do you think an alien from what do you think they would look like?
If you ask for my personal opinion, it's so I think that there are many aliens, many planets who are. I don't think they are more evolved than we are. I think they're just different. So maybe we can live with air, something that they cannot do, right? They can travel through space, but we can travel on water. Or, who knows? I mean, I'm not saying that they're better than us. They're just different. But I really think there's many species of them and different species. For example, I think that the ones that I've met, the ones that were in the hospital room, they were grays because they were gray. You could see them like a fog, very thick fog and gray. Some of them were really big, like up to the ceiling. The other ones are smaller, so different sizes. So they can also be the reptilians, which are not very nice ones. That's what the legends are saying, and many other species. I think there are so many, just like we are different. I think they are different as well. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wish for a world where we can meet, talk, share experiences, visit. Maybe
Oh
it would be.
yeah. I mean, that would be great. But again, the government would be against that because it
Mhm.
would then mean that they're not the most powerful thing
Yeah,
in
yeah.
existence, right?
And
So,
also the same with the forever fight between Russia, China, America, who's having the first alien, who is the first who contact them, who is the first who has the technology and so on. So it's always gonna be a fight for power, and we won't be able maybe to find the truth, at least for as long as we're, maybe our kids will find out. I don't know. But do you believe that NASA went on the moon?
do okay. So
Mhm.
there's like there's all sorts of things. There's like, people that are showing up saying like these astronauts are still alive. There's people, saying that this is the stage, like it's over here in Nevada that they shot. This is where they shot the moon landing and
Mhm.
these kind of things. I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to say I think it is possible that we landed on the moon. I'm also going to leave it open to the fact that I think it is also possible that we staged it. I mean, so like the only way I would know is to be able to talk to one of the individual astronauts. One of the benefits of, being me is generally I can tell if somebody is lying to me
Mm.
right away. So if I talk to them, I would be able to do that. But until I am able to do that, I'm going to leave it open. I would like to think that we landed on the moon. I would also like to think that Elon Musk is going to get us to Mars. That would be a great experience.
He might be an alien. Elon Musk might be an alien, or might
Yeah,
might get information from aliens. He really is special.
he is special. I think he's got some greatness going on with him. And, like the his free speech and then, Starship, and I like Elon. He's good. He's up there. Um,
So let me ask you something. So if we went to the moon, let's say we landed, I mean, on the moon, why didn't we go back?
that is an interesting thing. And, I'm hearing now that I think Russia and China are trying to build like nuclear power stations on the moon,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think we should go back. I think that we may, I mean, it's not completely un uh explored. I mean, there's like areas that we haven't been, right? We only been there once. There could be a reason, right? Couple of things, right? Let's say they encountered something on the moon that,
Mm. Yeah.
you know, they they can't really talk about, but they can't really go back to the moon because maybe it's bad, maybe it's poisonous, maybe it's dangerous, maybe it's live, who knows?
Mm.
Same thing said there was a huge, massive operation down in Antarctica where, the United States military brought down, like thousands of troops and weapons and tanks and planes and stuff in Antarctica. What do we need it down there for? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like a sheet of ice. Well, interesting that it's down there. That they did this. The operations were Operation High Jump and Operation Argus. Um,
And
all
what
of
was the
these things.
official reason? What was the official reason for it?
I don't. I think it was like research or
Mm.
maybe fighting against the Russians for land. I don't know, but that they needed
Yeah.
a lot of weapons down there, right? For this. Um, those kind of circumstances, those kind of things bring question
Sure.
to, like, in the fact that they're so secretive about UFOs, right? They're secretive about Area 51. Now, Area 51, I get because, the top secret technology that is being developed there could be being developed there. But why be so secretive about the aliens unless you're afraid of losing control, right? So, like, I've dated a narcissist, right? Um, she likes secrets.
Mm.
They like secrets because it gives them power
Mm-hmm.
over you, right? They know something you don't know. They have something that you want that
Yeah.
they don't have to give you, right? Again,
Or they are
those things.
the compassionate narcissist that they're pretending that I am protecting you. So this is why I'm not sharing everything with you.
Oh yeah, that's a big
Those are the
one,
most
right?
dangerous ones. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I got to keep this secret from you. I'm gonna protect you, but we're just
Mm-hmm.
not telling you about it. I mean, like, that's scary to me. And our government does that most governments do that on a daily basis. They, like they keep all these secrets from you. They're very ambiguous. There could be a terrorist attack. There could be, the next pandemic, right? Come to find out that, they're hiding it because maybe they've allowed this to happen, or maybe it's happened on their watch and they don't want to take responsibility for it. Now, let's
Yeah.
get back. Let's get back to aliens. I think alien technology would be great, but again, they have to roll it out slowly. So you're right. AI could have something to do with aliens, right? Um, but also we have to look at it as it could also be, like 100% man-made. But what technology could be alien technology? So besides AI, what do you think?
That we already have.
Hmm.
Mm. Maybe CERN, but I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about it, but it's it's a kind for me, CERN is the craziest experiment humans ever made. I don't understand. I'm not very good in physics, but I read about it a lot. So I don't really understand exactly the reason so they say they're looking for the particle of God, right? So the
Hmm.
smallest particle in universe. But I feel that it's something more than this one. So maybe CERN might be
Hmm.
something close to it.
Absolutely. I think there's several technologies that we're seeing present in like daily life that's probably been rolled out from like
I, what
alien
I what
technology.
I hope they find out the technology to cure these bad diseases that there are in the world right now. It's not
Hmm.
impossible. For
It's
example,
not.
at CERN they did it. They found some cures for different diseases. So it is possible to find something like this.
Well, again, remember, we've incentivized big pharma, big sugar, we've incentivized all of these companies to not fix the problem, right? So let's say if they come up with a miracle disease cure, not miracle disease, like a miracle cure, right? Or alien technology to help heal people. What happens then? Big pharma loses a lot of money because they don't need to fix anybody. Cure for
Mm,
cancer? We could probably come up with a cure for cancer tomorrow,
yeah,
or
yesterday
at
even.
least, like, I mean, we could probably work towards that. But instead,
Yeah.
we've got all these government, these nonprofits taking in money, let's get the cure for cancer, right? Well, what happens if they get it? They don't get any more money. That's people out of jobs. It benefits them to stay searching for that cure. Same thing with big pharma. It benefits them to keep coming up with these prescriptions that help treat but don't cure. The reason
Hmm.
why that'd be a thing, because then they lose all their money. That went off on a little tangent there, but I think aliens exist. I would like to see one
Hmm.
and have an experience. I'd like them to just like scoop me up, go on an adventure. And I think it's important for people to have an open mind to some of the things we talked about in this podcast, because again, you can believe something as much as you want, but until you open your mind to the possibility that what you believe isn't true or something else could be true, like until you do that, you're not really thinking.
Yeah, and at the same time, another cliche, but everything is possible. We cannot say that this doesn't exist or only this exists. It would mean that we are limited. So I think everything is possible, and it's a beautiful possibility that everything is possible.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for this episode, for watching this episode of Life Chronicles and Deep Dives podcast. If you have any stories about aliens, questions
Mhm.
about this podcast, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments section below. We will also be listing our websites in the description box, so please don't forget to check that out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the links for our websites and more coming soon.